So I deleted the class student because I would like to show you the beginning of how am I going to create that class step by step. So the class is student, and finish. So now it is not going to complain about students, but it is going to complain about those ID and names and grades because we don't have them. So let's declare them. So we have the ID as an int. If you remember, ID is an int, and we have name as a string and grades as an array of double. So ID string name and double as an array of grades. And I'm going to fix that because I don't want to make it too complicated, but just to simplify that, I'm going to fix it to 3, for example. So now it is not going to complain about those because I have the ID, the name, the grades, and I have put the values of those grades. The only thing that I don't have yet is this display information. So now let's have that display information, which is going to be public void display information. Up to now we did not get into creating or working with the parameters, but this is something that is going to come, inshallah. We're going to be doing that starting from next week, inshallah. Well, you can declare the average, but since I ask you to only use those, so maybe if you'd like to declare the average, it should not be a class variable, not an instance variable. You can declare it, for example, in the middle here, and then you can do something with it.
At the end, they declare the average as like a double.
What do you mean at the end? This one?
At the end,
this one over there? Yeah. I'm going to explain this one because I did not explain it actually. I just I'm going to show you what this means actually. This means something really special. This means, you know, this is a method, right? These are methods, both of them. And these two methods, yeah, this one doesn't return anything, that's why it's void. But this one returns actually a double. So I'm going to show you how to work with that, how this return data type, a method that is returning something, how can I use it in this class over here. So that's why actually I put this double over there. And let's just maybe keep it zoomed in so we can just see it maybe better. So we would like to create this display information, which is returning nothing, and I'm going to display whatever I need to display. So let's say system.out display ID, and this is really simple. I can whatever copy and paste because this is the simplest thing that I can probably do. Name, and I can use this as a name. What about the arrays? Yeah, the grades. Actually, it's not a good idea to. I could have done this, for example, array 0, and then maybe not go back to the lines. After that, I'm just can do something like this: grade 1 plus a space. Maybe just I should have added a space from here, or just keep them all in one line, in one statement, let's say, and plus, let's copy. Well, this is an answer, but it's not the best answer, but this is a way to solve the problem, to display all the grades. And since I'm doing it this way, then just can keep it with the print line. Always use the format. You know, this is something really interesting. Use the format so you can have your code neatly, formatted, and then it can help you many times just to understand what your code is doing, by just writing it typing it in a way that is easily understandable. So now, if I'd like to display the average, okay, and I would like to display the average there, what I could do I could declare average, or maybe before that just the sum, put it as 0, and then not put as 0, maybe just right away put this here, grade 0 plus grade 1 plus grade 2. And then what I could do, just system.out.println average plus sum divided by 3, right? And this will do. If I just run this, actually it is going to display the result as if I've did it this way. But this is a simple way, which is not the best way, because what would you do then if the array was of 30 grades? That is not something that is an option now. You cannot use this way of grade 0 plus grade 1. So let's improve this so it can be easily scalable. So the first thing that we can do is that instead of just displaying those grades there, I can then do something like this. Well, let's have a look at this thing. I'm going just to display grades, and I'm going to loop in a for loop with grades.length to make it easily scalable. And then in that, what should I do? Just display grade, maybe just grades of I plus a space, and without the go back to the line. So I'm displaying grades, and then I'm staying on the same line, and then I'm going to repeat 3 times, display the grade and a space, grade and space, grade and space, and then the I is moving from 0 to 2 because it's less than 3, and that is going to be fine. The only thing that I need to do at the end is maybe go back to the line, because here I did not go back to the line, I'm just using print. So once I have printed all the grades, I go back to the line. Same thing here. I can do something which is, well, let's now just do the same thing. For example, instead of having this, I can just, let's simplify, maybe make it into different steps. I'm going to, instead of calculating this like that, let's put it, the calculation in a loop. So instead of using this to calculate that, is this what I need to do? What do you think?
Why should we use the scanner here?
The scanner?
For the number?
Well, we can improve that and then probably make the user ask us, tell us how many grades he would like to enter, and then we get the grades from the user using scanner. But I don't want to make a lot of different things now, because I would like you to practice more working with methods and classes. So I'm not going to make it more complicated, just simplify that. We have only 3 grades and we would like to use loops, and I'm just asking you now, is this code going to calculate the sum, the average of those 3? I need to maybe to change this one to something more scalable, like this one, which makes no difference in the result, but it makes a difference if I have to change something there. So this is equal to what? You remember, this means sum equal sum plus grades. So just this or that is exactly the same thing. And then I is 0, the first time I is 0, so I'm getting the grade of 0 that I'm adding to sum, and then I becomes 1, I take the grade 1 and then add it to sum, I will become 2 then, and I'm going to add the value of grades 2 into the sum, and then I'm going to get out and display the result of this operation, which is sum divided by, and just to make sure I'm dividing, just put the parentheses, even if we understood that this has more this has precedence over the plus. So let's run this, and it's still working fine. Are we done? Did we respect whatever we were asked? Well, in this part, yes, but what about this calculate average? We did not use that. So we did not actually respect this. We want to calculate this average instead of having this calculated inside this display. We would like to calculate that. And this is the benefit of a method that returns something. And now you have to be careful and have a look at something that we are going to be doing that for the first time. I'm entering public double instead of void calculate average. So which means now once I do this, it tells me you have a problem because you have a missing return statement. Okay, very important. When this is not void, you have to include the return statement. And this return, I need to return something. What do I need to return? Well, basically I need to return like the average. So I need to return this. Oh no. Let's say this. But I don't have sum here, so what I'm going to be doing is just I'm going to take over this calculation from there and put it here. And now this is the difference between a method which is void and a method that returns something. Now this calculate average is going to be equal to this result of this calculation, which means that calculate average is becoming a value. Again, calculate average is going to be some sort of a value that I can use to display it or store it in a variable or do whatever I want to do with it. So now if, for example, I do something like this, this is possible. This is only possible because calculate average is returning a double, and I'm putting the result of this calculation inside another double, which is fine. I cannot do this with display information because display information is void, so I cannot put nothing inside of a double. So now this calculate average, when I'm returning something, this method that is returning something becomes some sort of like a mathematical function that returns a value. It becomes a value. So this is a value that I can store in a variable, or I can just go ahead and display it right away. We don't need to have it stored in a variable. So what I did, now this program is going to get the value, this calculate average, from this calculation, which you realize I did not change much. The same code, except that now I need to organize it differently by using this return, which is a must because this is something that is not void. So one rule that has to come to your mind every time you use a non-void method, it has to return something. So this return has to show up in your code somehow. So then you have to return something which is of the same data type that you specified, because you said while you're defining your method that this method calculate average would return a double. So if I'm returning an int, well, this int is going to be converted to a double. But anyways, you have to respect the same data type. So now if I run this, I'm going to execute this display information line by line, and when it comes to here, I cannot execute this line until I go inside and then execute this line by line until I finish everything, and then I'm going to return this value, and this value is going to be replaced. It's going to replace this calculate average, and I'm going to be able to display it. Let's run and see the same thing again. So now I'm using a method. In that method, I'm calling another method, and that method is double. Let me show you something really interesting that you should be using, and let's use it from here, for example. Remember these breakpoints? So this is something really interesting that you should always use if you really would like to understand the program, how it works, and get into the details of it, like the content of the variables and so on. Or maybe just if you have a problem in your code, you cannot understand why you have that problem. This is a very interesting and valuable tool for you to find your mistakes. So you run it with this one. It's very important because if you run it with that one, it will just keep going. So I would like you to realize that now my program didn't just finish everything. My output is somewhere here. Let me just display it. Okay, here's my output, and where is it? Well, it's here. It's waiting because I did not display anything yet. And I'm going to get inside. You see, this is step over. I mean, step over is not going to get inside. If I click on step over, it is just going to execute whatever had to be done in that method, but it is not going to get inside that method to let me see what is going on step by step. It just goes up the whole way, as you can see. Now if I'd like to execute it again, but this time not with the step over, but step into. So with the step into, I'm going to get inside now this method display information, and let me keep the output here, because every time I just would like to see something. Actually, we don't need this anymore. Remember, we've had that because we added some from another example, from another project. So now if I execute this line, I don't need to step into, because I don't want to get inside of print line. I just would like it to be executed. So if now I'm switching back to step over, and now I can see the result of each of those statements one by one. And I even can see, for example, now I'm going to be displaying the grades one step at a time, and you see I is 0, then I is going to become 1, and then I'm going to display. Notice this one over there, this small arrow, red arrow, green arrow. It is going to tell me where I am, and every time I'm going to execute something. Now I finished displaying all those 3 grades. I'm going to go back to the line, and now notice this. I am having to execute this calculate average. What I'm going to be doing, if I click on step over, it is going just to go and display everything, just the result of that. But I would like it to get inside of it. So let's see. I'm going to click on step into, and it tells me all. Is it print line? No. But then I went too quick. I mean, I should have went into and out. Anyways, I made a mistake. I went too quickly on step over, so I just displayed the result of that without giving me the opportunity to get inside of calculate average. So I'm going to start it again, and this time I'm going to be more careful. So step into, step over, and just click a bunch of times, and then I'm ready to step in. So let's step in. You see now I'm in print stream. I just get out and step in again. Oh, what happened? I'm doing something wrong. Okay, so let's stop this. I'm not able to get inside this calculate average because I'm doing something wrong that I don't remember now how to fix it. So what I'm going to be doing, another option is just to put another breakpoint there. And well, now that we put a breakpoint there, we don't need to have that here. So let's find out. I'm just going to run with this debug, and then now it is going to stop when it went to calculate average. You realize that in the output it's just displayed all the grades, and then it is waiting for me to display the other ones. So let's now step over so I can see what is going to happen. You see the sum? It is going to add the first value, the first grade, and then the second grade, and then the third grade. So this is the sum. I get out, and I'm going to return this sum divided by 3, which get me into here. Now I'm going to display this. So this is the sum divided by 3, and that's it. So this is allowing you to get into the details of your codes, and allow you to allows you to have a look at what is inside of your variables. So this is a very important tool for you to use. So remember how to use that. Just pick up a statement that you would like your code to stop at, and then you run your program with this debug project instead of run project. All right? Any questions?